Welcome in, everyone. This is More in the Know podcast. I'm honored and privileged to have special guest Blake Redmon here today. Welcome in, Blake.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, man.
This is your first podcast you've ever done.
Very first.
How's that feel?
It's cool. It's something I've wanted to kind of get into. I've listened to podcasts for years now, so wanting to get into the podcast side is kind of my first time being this side of the podcast.
Before we dive into today's podcast with our special guest Blake Redmon, I do want to give a shout out to the sponsors of today's show, and it just happens to be the businesses that I run, or one of the businesses that I run, Field Supplements. Blake's got the rare black leopard baseball jersey. You can still find a couple of these jerseys on our website at fieldsupplements.com. I have a sleeveless or a short sleeve hoodie here. This is no longer available. We have a couple different short sleeve hoodie options that are available though on our website. And I am SLC certified. That's Samuel Listo certified. So go to Samuel Listo Music or SamuelListo.com. So shout out to him. I know he just dropped a couple new singles and he has a song in the works for our Surrender brand. And ultimately, Blake, that's really what I wanted to get you on today's podcast was speaking about the Surrender Retreat, what that's meant to you, and really how your life has changed since then. So before we dive into that, let's take a deep breath in and let's go back just like a little bit. It's interesting enough that at the start of this year, you and I didn't know each other yet in the physical realm. So how did you even find out what I was doing or find out what was going on? How did that even transpire, man?
Yeah, no, you know what? That's just the power of social media. So I was just one of my escapades of going through social media, and I clicked follow on an account. And, you know, when you get on social media or even you follow someone on Instagram, it'll pop down similar accounts to this. And I can't remember what account I followed when yours popped up. But I saw your little avatar pop up. I clicked on it. I saw, you know, the content you're posting, and it was something recent about like the ice baths and like breath work. I was like, man, this is cool. And then I saw it said in your profile, Phoenix. I was like, no way. Like I gotta connect with this guy, see what's going on. So I just followed you and kind of like forgot about it. And I think like a couple weeks later, you followed me back. And then I saw you're like, hey, we're doing these ice baths in here. Hit me up if you want in. I'm like, boom, let's make it happen. So then the rest is history.
Sweet. No, I mean, I love that. It's called Synchrodestiny. So grateful that those connections were made to the power of social media, regardless of our thoughts and feelings on it.
Yep.
It's
depends on the day, right?
Yes, depends on the day. And one of those situations where I just use it as a tool necessarily now. I mean, it's an asset and a tool and something that I haven't really consumed in much of in terms of just a consumer. It's been more or less a modality and something that I utilize as an asset for my many businesses. But I understand that there's definitely a fine line between use and abuse, and how addiction is. I mean, dopamine feedback loops and things that are being created through these social platforms really has to be something that you're mindful of.
Yeah, you gotta. It's a fine line to really go through. It's something that I've really tried to get more into, is to be more on the producing side than the consuming side. Like it's something you have to balance to be like, okay, take a look at the introspection of it, or whatever you want to call it. You're looking, okay, am I consuming too much, or am I not putting enough out there? And like, I'm at the point right now where I'm definitely consuming too much. So it's something I'm like, okay, I need to step back and start producing more before I get into that just endless loop. It's too negative.
Yeah, you can get into it, definitely an endless loop, especially when you go on these platforms that are designed to keep you addicted, to create those dopamine feedback loops to just keep you hooked. I mean, it's an addiction, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So, and one thing that we did though that I haven't spoke about the Surrender Men's Retreat. So just to break that down, if you're a first time listener or you don't know what that is, about 6 months ago, I had the vision, the mindset to have a retreat in the middle of the mountains in Montana, and it was going to be a men's masculinity transformational retreat, and that's exactly what it was. And in my head, I knew the power of backpacking and the power of being isolated in the mountains and the power of being disconnected to reconnect, meaning we don't have phones or television, and we're not in a home or a house. We're in the middle of the mountains, and you're completely stripped of the things that you have day in and day out that make you really feel comfortable. And so I wanted to incorporate the beauty of the backcountry, the backwoods, and backpacking, all the B words, and then I wanted to pair that with surrender. I wanted to pair that with breath work, meditation. I wanted to pair that with men's masculinity and really bonding and becoming brothers and really being vulnerable, open, and honest, granting ourselves forgiveness, understanding each other's pains and sufferings and guilts and shame that we've gone through. So I designed this ultimate retreat that I don't feel is actually even offered right now. I feel it's one of one and very unique. And I offered it to the people that were around me that were participating in the breath work. A handful of friends wanted to go. A lot of people said they wanted to go. Not only 15, not only, but 15 committed. And Blake Redmon was one of them. So Blake, talk about first finding out about that from me, and then talk about the process of you committing to it, and then heading into it. What did you feel was to be expected?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we're kind of talking about this a little bit earlier. With how your vision was it and the way that you just described it, I knew just immediately that I could see that it could be a life-changing, of course, if you were to allow it, it could be a life-changing event. And it was something that, like, I was kind of at a point in my life where I'm like, I'm doing so much of this self-development, this and that, and I feel like there's just this subconscious part of it that I can't seem to get a hold of, that I need to go to the next level of, like, professional, or someone else needs to come in and figure out what it is, or basically pinpoint what it is that I'm holding on, and be able to release it, because it's not something that I'm even conscious of. It's deeper than that. So when you were describing it, I was like, okay, it called to me. I was like, this is exactly what I need. And so I was like, we didn't talk about price right off the bat or anything, or the details of when it was, this and that. I was like, sign me up for it. Make sure that, like, I want to be on this list. I gotta be in on this.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I'm grateful that you committed and fully dived into it, and said, regardless of the cost, the value. I truly believe that when the value is enough, the cost truly doesn't matter. And I've done that in many aspects of my life in terms of hiring people, going on retreats and different trips, etc. And I know that the value is going to be enough. So whatever the cost is, I'll find a way to make it happen.
Yep, that's how I felt exactly.
And so you committed to it, and your vision leading into it. Knowing what you know now, did you fully feel that was everything you thought it was going to be? Was it more? Was it less? Or what was your mind's eye heading into it?
I definitely got more than I expected, 100%. Like, I thought, it definitely was going to be that breakthrough I was looking for. I was like, I'm willing to put it all on the line. Like, I will do whatever it takes. I'm not going to hold anything back. I went in there with, 15 other people I hardly knew, and left with 15 new brothers, But I was like, that doesn't, the fact that I don't know these people, this is just about me. Like, I need to get that release, and so I can get to that next level. And I was able to do that, and honestly came away like, I feel like a completely different person.
No, that's so incredible. What do you feel was, I know it's tough to say just one part, but what do you feel was, like, one of the most memorable parts of it all for yourself, like moments?
I think it was after one of our like somatic release sessions, and everyone was kind of sharing their struggles and kind of how they were feeling, and it felt like I wasn't alone, because a lot of today's modern society with men and things like that, you're meant to feel, hide your emotions, sink them down, don't be emotional, this and that. So to have a group of men that, like, I felt surrounded by a bunch of other men that I could say anything to, and they wouldn't be like, be a man, don't be a pussy, kind of thing like that. So it was cool to, like, felt like you had that brotherhood with other people.
It's very interesting because I had a video on TikTok, get like 200,000 views, and I actually just disabled the comment section because I didn't even really feel like giving time, space, and energy for people who wanted to troll on it. But it's so funny that the very thing that we were in the mountains doing, which was attuning to true masculinity, then to only be commented by men who have this, like, really fake masculinity, which actually is derived from low bouts of self-esteem. Because when you break down these men, actually, on an emotional level, they break down like little boys.
Yeah.
broken boys turn into toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it's just it's so unrealistic to go by the societal standards of like men can't be emotional and just toughen it up, or it's like the only emotion you see men is just like anger. This it's like it's so unrealistic, and you just see like these people that go for so long with it, and then they have their meltdowns or whatnot, and it's like, yeah, when you repress things for so long, eventually it's gonna find a way out.
It will. It absolutely will, and it'll bring down your health. But it's funny because all the comments were like, this is tomfoolery. This stuff doesn't work. People actually pay for this. Somebody brought up that I was a capitalist benefiting off of people's trauma and challenges.
Right.
So Blake, without since I've brainwashed you, and so
Yeah.
all the things that I've brainwashed you and seduced you and
leader.
manipulated, seduced you and manipulated you in, realistically, was it worth the value to you in terms of the money that was spent?
Yes, absolutely. I would have paid double or triple for that, for everything I got. It was completely life changing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's all that needs to be said about it. I mean, and do you feel that I was in it to capitalize off of your trauma?
No, not at all. And I mean, the reason I have that backing too is the relationship we've built over the last 6+ months. Is like coming to the ice baths and everything like that, and dealing with field supplements. There's never been like it's never felt transactional. It's never been like like the ice baths run off of donation based. If you can, you can. If not, no biggie. The supplements has never been like you've been like nickel and diming me kind of things, like here's this, let's try that and everything. And I'm happy to pay for a product that I feel is worth it. That's how my values work, and that's why I think we align really well.
Absolutely. Well, I do really appreciate that, Blake, and it's been a privilege having just you in my network. And I've been at a rebuilding phase for quite some time in many of my different businesses, and it's cool to start to bring in new people to collaborate and connect with on things. And this year, my really focus has been just on value and service, and I understand that with value and service comes to fruition in terms of money, and the money will come. Like for me, going up in the mountains, I broke even on this first one. I mean, I really did break even when it was all said and done. And for me, it wasn't about money. It was about to see the potential or the possibility that this could be in the future. And it had to start somewhere. And I'm really grateful for men taking the leap of faith to put themselves in a position to experience that, and just stepping into a place of knowing and not questioning and not doubt. Because I didn't have a fucking doubt in my mind that it was going to be what it was going to be. But that's easy for me because it not everybody can see where I'm at.
Right.
And the vision is. But it's cool because I truly feel that there's been a band of brothers that have said, hey, that we're like, you know what, we're going to go into this not knowing exactly what it's like, but we're all going to give it 100%.
Yep, definitely. That was a big thing. Like I didn't doubt your vision or what was going to happen for a second. The only doubt came from me was an insecurity of my own self-doubt. Like, am I going to really be able to release and get past that trauma or whatever it is that I'm holding on to? Like, am I going to be able to truly release? Is this the own doubt in myself that I'd even be able to break past that? And then even going into that, I just, fully surrendered to it and was able to get past that, get to the next level.
If you open yourself to the potential and the possibilities that can be curated in a situation like that, then I absolutely knew that was only going to be the result. Was a curation of men truly stepping into transformation, transcendence, and elevating themselves to consciousness, really letting go of the past, letting go of the trauma bonds, letting go of the control that keeps them out of control. I mean, all these different situations that keep men in this silent suffering, pissed off anger, pissed off feelings, guilt, shame, rejection, abandonment, and these unresolved feelings of disappointment and sabotage ultimately is what it all leads to. And I knew it was going to be curated in that situation, but it also took men like yourself. I can do it all I want, but that situation and what happened in the mountains could have been completely different if everybody wasn't on the same page. Right. And that's what's beautiful, I truly believe, about this brand versus many of the things that I've ever built or been part of is it says, hey, like, you see these other guys who are complete strangers. You've never met them, and they're willing to show up, and they on their lives are like, you know what? I really seek to accomplish some change in my life. Talk about the effect that having others that are men and that are strangers be in that same position. What does that allow you to do, and what do you feel your connection with these men have been like?
Right. So going into it, strangers leaving brothers. I mean, it's a hard feeling to even be able to express.
You can't really explain it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a really big part of it was the struggle that we all went through, even as simple as like the hike, right? Just
Fuck
going
yeah.
a 9+ mile hike with 3,000 feet of elevation. We're all struggling together. Some people might have different levels of shape that they're in, or how they trained for it or whatnot, right? But like every single person, it was definitely hard to get up on. And so, going through that, having the groups that we're in, and then you stop, and then the groups switch up, so you kind of get to connect with the people on that 5-6 hours it took us to get up there, and so we're all struggling together, and we're all just learning things about each other. And then going up, once we get to the base of the camp, we're all setting up and everything like that, and it just felt like built that connection throughout the hike. And then getting there, kind of like I was talking about with one of this like somatic releases, to be able to see that everyone else is like, struggling, and no one was really holding back. There was, you talk about a lot, the, being the man, right? Everyone stepped out of that, and they weren't worried about being, all up in the all macho, this and that. It's like everyone was stepped into vulnerability, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, being the man is so overrated.
Yeah.
And the mountains don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck if you're the man.
Right. They'll kick your ass either
Oh
way.
man, I mean, they don't discriminate. They don't give a fuck. Whatever words that you want to say about it. I mean, it's just the fact of the matter is ultimately there's no discrimination when you throw a pack on and then you go into the mountains of Montana, or just any mountains ultimately. And it's a very, very humbling experience. But also, too, is just like you said, that bond initially from connecting with your brothers from something hard that you had to go through, and something that was challenging, to be able to connect with one another. And I knew going into it, in and of itself, just the experience of backpacking, just that in and of itself, going where we were going, spending time deep into nature, completely away from society and the rat race of our day-to-day. I knew that that's exactly the type of experience that was going to be what was going to result.
Right.
And that's why I was in such faith of it. And it was really cool to be able to see everybody just connect with one another organically without it being forced. It wasn't like you guys showed up and there was a lot of surface level. It was like you guys showed up and you were boys right away.
Yeah.
And you just jumped right into it. And I truly believe, and I don't, even though I feel like Surrender 1 will always be an outlier, because it was from, let's just be honest, man, this whole brand is something that I just started this last year. So you have seen the fruition of the brand. Beforehand it was up here, and I was a participant. Essentially, I was in your guys' position for a year.
Right.
Showing up to breathwork, going to plunges, just learning. I never said a word, never led breathwork, any of that. Decided to come down here, and then I said, I can do this. And then you guys have ultimately seen it from what it started with, and then what it's now becoming, and it's becoming a brand. I mean, this is how you lay the foundation of a brand. You build on things. You create genuine connections with people. I mean, we're doing things now as a group, and that's why, like, to me, it's about me having this as my tribe, not me having this as my business. You guys aren't business transactions to me. You're my fucking friends, man. And like the thing is, I'm willing to pay my friends for their product and or service if it's of great value to me.
Yeah,
and
100%.
so that's the situation that we're in down here, and it's so beautiful because we're all here to support each other. The whole point of this long statement here is that Surrender number 1 will always be a very unique group. I mean, it was mainly coaching clients of mine, my OG coaching clients, with some of my best friends, with people who have been here for the breath work and take advantage of the modalities and such that I offer. And so there's this big connection of all these different people that I know. Now, I do truly believe moving forward, regardless if that dynamic is withheld or maintained, because we're going to have to go outside of like the friend group to get new people there. Right. Truly, though, I don't feel that that's going to make much of an effect on how people connect, unless it comes down to the person's willingness or unwillingness to be able to open themselves up to what's possible.
Yeah. I think a really big thing with that is the fact that in some way, shape, or form, everyone knew someone in that group, or like we knew you or something like that. So there was that connection, and there was the knowingness from you that every single person was already putting work in on themselves, right? So there was the availability to be open for new things, and to listen and be coachable and things like that, right? And I think that could be very big for growing in the future. Is, it's probably going to be someone that knows someone, and recommends it, and it's like, I'm a great testimony for that too. Like I was shouting from the mountains, like, more people need to do this, right? Versus if it only happens with growth. I can see bigger, if you're running things that are running ads, this and that, it's like you're saying, people that might be more hesitant, but they see it's all the rah kind of thing, and they're like, okay, I'm in on it, and then their own setbacks might be something that holds them back, but it's not that the process is going to be flawed.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I feel it's a bulletproof method that will only be smoothed out and polished in the upcoming months and years. And it was an honor and privilege to be able to have you guys be part of the very first one. I learned a lot about myself. And as it moves forward, the one thing that I definitely wanted to maintain versus a lot of these other companies, and I'm not here to be a comparison of companies or try to be anybody better. What I've done is I've taken notes from different people of how they're doing it. I see these different groups, men's masculinity groups, retreat groups. I've been part of them. I've spent time in doing all sorts of different modalities and such with different types of energy healers and somatic and trauma bond breathwork practitioners, etc. I mean, I've been around it, so I've been able to really see what I feel is necessary for transformation and growth. And then I've paired that with my coaching. My coaching is very specific: mind-body connection, letting go of events that shape feelings, and then presenting that on a very intimate level with men. And ultimately, I'd like to maintain that level of intimacy by keeping it in smaller groups.
Yeah.
And so I think there was almost like a perfect group size. Next year it'll be groups of 12.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a big deal too, with the number of people there, because if it gets too big at that point, it's just kind of hard to have more of that one-on-one connection. Because I mean, even like when we had our free time in between what was scheduled for the somatic sessions and everything like that, it was like, okay, we're gonna go fishing, oh, we're gonna sit over here and talk and this and that, oh, we're gonna go hiking. And so then you have that where the bond is strengthened even more, and like that would be really hard to organize and like be in smaller groups if you had more people than like 12 to 15.
Yeah, it'd be too much. And so I want to maintain the intimacy of that. And I know everybody that was there will absolutely endorse what went on. And
Yep.
So it's cool. It's cool to see that. And it was, heading back home, what do you feel the difference has been in your life since you've been back?
I'm definitely aware of the, habits and patterns that I previously fell into with, my addictions and my codependency and things like that. I notice when a pattern is trying to reinsert itself. So instead of it just being unconscious, now I'm like conscious of the things that are going. So I'm able to step in and be like, basically take a step back from it. Now I'm like, okay, well, this is something I used to do in the past. We don't have to do this, or I don't have to feel this certain way just because this happens. I'm in control of it completely now.
Absolutely. That's beautifully put, and really stepping into a body that's in command. You had committed to sobriety while you were on the trip.
Yes, sir. 22 days.
That's powerful. So what's your sobriety date?
August 20th, 2022.
August 20th. All right. Congratulations on your sobriety. Congratulations on your willingness and commitment to your faith. And it's awesome to have you part of this group down here in Arizona, where we're all interconnected. We're now doing, Bible study groups and men's groups, and we're all connected on Sunday still. And
Yeah.
and it's cool to see. I mean, this is the community that I ultimately wanted to have in my life. And I just knew that if I wasn't willing to put myself in a position to lead and be led, and also open myself to these beautiful relationships that were in abundance, like having a relationship like yourself, with having relationship with somebody like yourself in a friendship and a brotherhood, if I didn't really open myself to it, I would never be able to attract the type of people that I truly deserve to have in my life. With my child being born into a situation that it is, I really feel comfortable. Like I said, I've talked about, you be Uncle Blake, it'd be cool.
Right.
How does it feel to be becoming an uncle here in the spring?
Dude, I think it's gonna be really cool. Yeah, it's and then eventually, once I have a family down the line, you be Uncle Josh as
That's
well
right,
too. We
right.
got the whole big family. Family's not always blood.
No, and that's such a beautiful thing to be in that position where I have such brothers around me that I feel cool and be like, hey Blake, I need you to take our little one for an hour or something. And be like, oh yeah, I mean, just that's the type of relationship I ultimately want with everybody
Right.
here, and I think that's the potential.
And that's another thing that I don't think is talked about too. I mean, like you see in the self-development realm, it's like, who you hang out is who you'll become, like the 5 people and everything like that. I think that's really huge for men too, being around a group like we have and everything, because I'll tell you, in the past, I was, of that mind of like, I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have kids. I want to be like the playboy dude, like, I'll be the cool uncle for my brother and his family and everything like that, showing up with a different chick all the time and everything. And it's just like, it's such an empty existence to go that way. And then hanging around, you guys and seeing the great relationships that like you and Jordan have, and other people in our friendship, and you're bringing children into this world now. It's like completely changed the way that I perceive everything. And I'm like, okay, that kind of aligns with what I actually do want. Like I want a wife, and I want to have a bunch of kids and all that kind of stuff like that. So it's the flip flop of that, just based on who you're with, is huge.
Absolutely. And you're 100%, man. And I'm so grateful to be in that position. And I've been inspired by the men around me. I've been inspired by their relationships and their commitment to monogamy, their commitment to their wives, their commitment to their children. I mean, that's inspiring. The world requires more dads. Not dads, not daddies, fathers. I've been called daddy a lot in my life, but I'm most grateful and most looking forward to being called father. And that, and within of itself, for me, especially after the men's masculinity retreat, is father to me is about fully stepping into that masculinity and embracing who I am as a man, but getting vulnerable with the things that I have to let go of, for me to be in a position to come to God's grace and humility, to step into a role of being a father, step into a role of being a leader of the family, and to have the ability to discern situations and be patient, have sympathy and empathy and everything that's involved with it all. So it's such a powerful thing. We're gonna cut this off here. We're just about up with time. But Blake, honor and privilege, man, as always, to have you part of what we're doing. Where can people find you?
So on all social medias, I try to make it easy on you. It's the Blake Redmon, so TheBlakeredmon. It should be for all socials. I'm mostly active on Instagram, trying to broaden out a little bit better for the other platforms. We'll get there.
Go check him out. I'll leave all of his links below to his social media platform. It's free to like, comment, share, and subscribe this channel. It's free. I mean, it costs you nothing. The next 100 subscribers, every 100 subscribers, I'm giving away $100. So you have a 1% chance of winning $100. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away $1,000. So share this channel with your friends. Let us know who you want on this show. Let us know the content that you want produced here, and we're going to continually keep pumping out this content. I have a vlog for Saunacles. We're going to be starting the Saunacles vlog, weekly vlog. So there'll be one out per week on that. I'm going to be doing new guests every single week on this show, the More on the Know podcast. And then Power Precision, I'm still pumping out content there. Field Supplements, we have the vlog there. So just stay tuned. All you have to do is just hit the subscription, hit the like button, comment below, and just let us know what you want to see more of. And with that being said, this is More on the Know podcast with today's guest, Blake Redmon. Honor and privilege, my man, for you to be here today.
Thank you very much, man.
And peace out. Give us a follow.